Welcome back to the channel. It's me, Adam. You're watching Unlimited Options Investing. Crypto is sinking and stocks are going down, but it's looking pretty interesting on the charts and it makes sense. It's looking healthy right now, but we're going to take a look at it together. If this is your first time on the channel, welcome aboard and hit that subscribe button. Here at Unlimited Options Investing, we talk everything from stocks, crypto, options, ETFs, and we're investing for the long term. As always, smash that like button and let's get started. Looking at the heat map of the S&P 500, pretty flat or red, with defensive sectors doing a little bit better. Visa and MasterCard holding up, but PayPal down. And with big technology either down or pretty flat. Microsoft flat, Apple flat after its big run up. Google pretty sideways, Amazon down about 1%, with mostly Tesla and Nvidia taking the brunt of the downward movement today. Down 6% and Nvidia down 4%. And these two stocks were the better performers of 2021. But first, let's take a look at Bitcoin and Ethereum. What happened? Let's switch over to the 2-hour time frame, and we see the price over the last few days roll over, hit the 50 EMA on the 2-hour, and roll over now to levels that we found previous buying support around 48,000. If we reach these levels, we're going to be looking as low as we were the other day at around 42,000. But this could be a good opportunity to scoop up some Bitcoin and see a potential recovery. Ethereum's had it rougher, because it's also been performing better on the up days as well as of late. We see on the 2-hour, the 20 and the 50, and then it sold off right underneath of it. Right now around that 4,100 level, where we often find buyers around the 3,900 to 4,000 level with Ethereum. If in the future this 3,900 mark ends up breaking, then zooming out, we could be going as low as maybe 3,600 on Ethereum. But we still do have a ways to get there. You got to think that the buyers are eventually going to step up, especially as we get closer to that 3,900 level. Gold still trading sideways, not really going anywhere, but the one I want to talk about is silver is down 2%. It still, again, is finding resistance around that 20 and that 50. However, if we zoom out and we go back to previously in September, October, we were previously at these levels and found significant buying pressure. If this breaks, that could be really bad. However, I really like silver at these prices if you wanted to get into a position, but be prepared that it could break these levels. This could prove to be a good buying opportunity, especially when we take a look at the RSI. But also what would be wise is to see if we do find buying pressure on these levels and then potentially getting into the trade once the recovery is confirmed. But I'm definitely paying attention to these levels right now. Let's take a look at the S&P 500. And let's take a look at this one on the daily. A few days ago, we gapped up pretty hard. We filled that level and came back up. We have found selling pressure around that 470 mark. And now we are going back down, but looking for the 20 or the 50 EMA or potentially this blue trend line over here as dynamic support moving forward. And ideally what we see is a healthy pullback, and then we see some kind of upward motion after that toward the upside and creating new all-time highs. That would be ideal, because if we see that in the S&P 500, that will go across the other broad markets, which could also mean that the NASDAQ also is having a healthy run as well for a potential Christmas rally. And when we take a look at the NASDAQ as well, we see that we are approaching the 20 EMA, and I'm not really paying attention to news because at these levels, it makes sense that there is profit taking and they can use any excuse they want to for why they're profit taking. But on the charts, it makes sense that there is supply at these levels. Again, hopefully pulling back to somewhere in this area for the 20 or the 50 EMA and then seeing a potential run higher and grinding up toward a Christmas rally. Because think of it, let's say this red candle doesn't exist and we continue going higher, then we reach that top of the channel again, and then we would potentially find more selling pressure afterward. But because we're having this pullback, it's like, hold on everyone, let's take a breather. Take a breather on the RSI as well, and then that's what gives us more room toward the upside. That's a healthy market. Who doesn't want to see a healthy market entering the new year? Tesla down 6% today. We opened right underneath the 20 EMA on the daily, and look where we coincidentally ended up closing, right on that $1,002 mark, right where that 50 EMA is, and the top of our channel between about 910 and 1,000, because we know 1,000 is a psychological marker for Tesla stock, and we had this gap up from 910 all the way to 950 back in October. So will we potentially be finding buying pressure, and traders tomorrow will push the price higher? But if we do close below the $1,000 mark, then we could see again the bottom of that channel and fill in that gap from earlier. Apple stock has been the best performing tech stock over the past week, and we see a very strong move toward the upside. A week ago we were at 160, and now we're trading at 174. And this one's still in an uptrend. We are overbought, but again, when stocks go up, they can continue to go up for who knows how long. But what goes up must eventually come down. So I'm holding poor man's covered calls when it comes to Apple stock, and I actually sold the 177 strike price expiring tomorrow as a covered call because, again, this move has been pretty strong. If it does go above 177, then you know what? That means that Apple's done very well for me over the past week. And if Apple pulls back, that's okay. I'm holding my position, but I get to take someone else's premium that they paid me. Facebook stock has also been one of the better performing big tech stocks over the past. We see that we closed last week at 306, and we had 1, 2, 3 strong days in a row, and today going down, finding resistance at that 50. And until we break this 345, 350 mark, it looks like Facebook is going to continue trading in that channel between 340 and 345. But eventually, when we do break out of it, what we want to see, and if that happens, that would confirm a potential double bottom around. I'm really bullish on Facebook. I want to see this one go above 400, 500 in the upcoming years. Amazon, the worst performer of big tech this year, is again trading sideways, finding pressure around 35.50, finding pressure between 3,350 and 3,550. And until we break one of these zones, Amazon's kind of boring right now. Eventually, I do think it will climb above 4,000, 5,000 in the upcoming years, but we just haven't been seeing that lately. Again, with Amazon, if we take a look at the weekly and we zoom out, that we see that it likes to trade sideways for a while before ripping up higher. But it does look like we are making higher lows, so that is a positive note. It's just a matter of time for Amazon. And lastly, we have Microsoft and Google. These ones are a little bit more boring. If you take a look at the weekly, honestly, whenever this one hits the 20 on the weekly, it's always been a buy. Time and time again, except for this one, we had the pandemic crash and back at the end of 2018. But otherwise, whenever this one hits the 20 EMA on the weekly, it's a total buy. And similar with Google, again, whenever this hits the 20 or the 50 EMA, it would just buy. Amazing companies that everyone wants to be a part of. And the IWM, we saw some strength earlier at the beginning of the week, finding buying pressure off that $215 mark. We found resistance at the 20 and the 50. That kind of makes sense. Pulling back, filling in this gap, and what we could potentially see if we do find buying pressure around these levels is again something that looks something like this, breaking that 20 and the 50 and moving on toward higher. But if we don't see that and we continue going down, then we could potentially still be stuck in this channel for the foreseeable future. I'm just waiting for these small caps to eventually break out. Alright, and that's the end of my video. Let me know in the comments below if you're buying the dip, if you like these levels on the charts right now, or if you're just sitting on your hands waiting for lower prices. Let me know in the comments. As always, subscribe, like, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video.